Okay, I'll first mention you'll hear my cat trying to pester me here in a little bit every so often. Anyway, um, so we're going to set this up for the first track, which is going to have the piano playing, and I'm going to have strings going on with that, and I'll turn on a feature called harmony, which will add harmony to the keys. I'll try to hold this camera as steady as I can as we're doing the settings. I don't know how else to get where you can see it without me just holding it. So first off, I'm going to select the voice. I presume you know, but a voice is a different instrument to a keyboard. So one voice could be trumpet, another natural grand, another ambient grand, and in fact ambient grand is what I'm going to use. So what I have to do is click on this voice, and it's already on piano, so I can use this dial to move down and up to find what I want. So I'm going to go down the list here, and there's ambient grand. I might also mention that voices are listed here, and you'll see that they list a range. For example, pianos 1 through 10. So as you saw me dialing through there, there's 10 different pianos. So finding these numbers can get you close. So let's say, for example, I was going to use accordion. I could then, instead of scrolling, I could type, it says accordion here, 037 to 041. So I could go over here and type 037, and we come back over here, and Musette is the first accordion that it has. And you can scroll down through different ones. So I'm going to go 006, and that happens to be ambient grand. So once I've selected that, I'm going to hit exit. Okay, so continuing on, the next thing I'm going to do is set the volume for this. When you're adding, what I'm finding is that when you're adding different instruments and different things, you don't want to blow out your main instrument. In this case, it's going to be ambient piano. So what I'm going to do is set a volume for the main voice, which is this piano, and we'll show you that here in just a second. And then what ends up happening is you do some trial and error playing with them to where you finally land on the voice volumes you want and so forth. Now you may not need or want to do that, but this is how I'm doing it, and hopefully helping you at least learn some how-tos here. You can do it the way you want to. Okay, so I want to set the voice for this main function. So what we do is we hit this function button right here, and that brings it over into this, and now it's setting on volume, and it's style volume. Well, we can move back and forth to different things with these category buttons. The category is at the top. It says, style volume and volume category. So I can just hit the left one and work my way through it. And I can just hold the left down and let it scroll through it. I'm going to let it scroll. That was on demo. Now it's on, now it's on metronome. I'm going to hold it down some more. And I want to get to, there's split voice, dual voice, main voice. There we go. Now I just hit the arrow some more till I get, oh, there it is, main volume. And right now it's setting on 90. And actually, that's what I want to use for this. So I already had it set for that. I'm sorry for this jiggling around, darn it. I already had it set for that, so I don't have to change it. But if I wanted to, as you've probably guessed, I use this dial, and I can dial it up and down. So I'm going to leave that on 90 and hit the exit button. Now my volume is ready to go. Okay, the next thing I've got to set up is what's called dual, and I'll show you the buttons on that. And what dual does is add another instrument right away. You don't have to record it on a separate on a separate track, and the keyboard handles playing the dual while you play the piano. So we're going to set up a dual, and what I've decided to use is live strings. So notice the dual button. It's right over here. And what I'm going to do is press that and hold it down. Because when you turn on dual, there's some defaults on what those things are going to be using. The default for dual with ambient piano is bell pad. But what I want to do is use live strings. So if I refer to this chart up here, strings starts at 065. Okay, there's several different strings. So I'm going to type, 065. And that landed right, that first string is live strings. Again, I can move down through different strings and so forth, but live strings is what I want. And you guessed it, I hit exit now. And I do want to set the volume for the dual. So I'll go back over here and hit function. Over here is main voice. I'm going to hold the right arrow down till I get over to dual voice instead of main voice. There we go. Now the left button to move back is I think a past voice or volume. There's dual volume. It's currently set really low on 022. Not sure what I was doing with it that low, but I've made a note that what I want to set it at is 83. So I'm going to just, actually, let me see if I can type that in, 083. By golly, I could. Instead of using the dial, use that data entry pad over here. So now I've got my voice set on the dual to 083. I'm going to hit the exit. And what we'll see here is ambient grand. Style, ignore that. We're not going to use styles in this exercise. But if I want then to see my dual on, what I do is hit the dual button. And now we see dual is set for live strings. Tells you the numbers. And I already know my volumes. 90 on the grand and 83 on the strings. Okay, now we're going to set up another thing called harmony. I found that harmony doesn't just all of a sudden work. It depends on what settings you set it for. So I have found a setting that works for me in this setup. Took a little trial and error. But what harmony does is add to the right hand, the treble playing, more keys. So instead of hitting single keys, it might hit dual keys or chord keys, depending on what your setting is. So we'll set up harmony now based on what I already know I want to use. Okay, harmony. Right here is the harmony key. So I'm going to hold it down because I do want to change what it's set. Right now by default it's on 2 standard. And if I played that with this right now, it wouldn't sound any different. Gosh, I wish I'd do a better way of holding this camera. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to go up, and there's full chord, rock duet. You can experiment with this up. I already know what I'm using on this, and it's going to be 12 octave. So it's going to play an octave higher than what I'm playing now. So octave is what I want, and as you probably guessed, I can hit exit. And harmony up in this upper right corner is not showing. It's grayed out. Means I need to actually turn on harmony by punching this button once. And now we have harmony on. We've got, oh, look what happened. Somehow we got changed to harpsichord. Well, just sitting right here without even having to go in, I can just dial this back down to ambient grand. Okay? Okay, so harmony set up except for one thing, volume. I need to make sure it's the same volume as my main because this harmony is harmonizing with the piano, my main. So I go over here and I hit function again. And it's setting on harmony. Let's see if volume shows up here. I'm going to hit the left there. I decided to pause it while I was looking. So here we are at harmony volume. It's set at 80. And 90 is what I have my main voice at. So I'm going to go to 090. And there it is. So now I can hit exit. And harmony is all set up. Now, something else I want to show you that's kind of cool is during the course of doing all your stuff, you might have different settings you make that you might use frequently or reuse and so forth. It'd be kind of a pain to have to go through all this exercise every time you wanted to use one. Well, there's only 4 of them on the 660, but there are 4 registry memory. I call it a bank. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So whatever your keyboard is set up as, you can store it to a bank. I'm going to store this one at registry 1. I hold down the bank, push the first key, and there, it's on 1. So let's say, so I'll hit 4. That's gotten set up with something with trombone. If I hit 1 again, it's back to ambient grand, and all those settings will be there. Okay, so here's something else that's interesting. This song, when I listen to it played, I'm taking my lessons from Playground Sessions, and they add a harmony. And you can listen to the song, what it's going to sound like. They include accompaniments. Which is really, their accompaniment is kind of what I'm basing this one off of. I am in the learning stages here. It's not like I'm going to sell it or anything. So anyhow, near the end, the song all of a sudden dramatically gets louder. So I'm going to set up a second loudness. So we've got first one here, and that's with loudness 90, for example. So right now, for example, I'm going to go ahead and hit the, let's see, let's hit the harmony. Well, actually, let's just, we'll hit function, and I'm setting on harmony right now with it at 90. I'm going to take it up to, I'm going to do 115 on harmony. Okay, I'll go, oops, hit 0. That go here. 1, 1, 5. Okay, so that's my harmony volume. I'm going to do the main volume the same. So I'm going to hold my arrow down here until I get onto the main split voice. Oh, let me mention, by the way, one of the functions that you can do on this piano, which is kind of cool, is you can have the left half of the keyboard be one instrument, the right half be another, and that's called splitting it. And you can determine where to split it. You know, there's a setting for that. I tried that early in this process, and I come to learn, once I read the small print in the manual, that recording will not record splits. So that means you have to figure out a way to use either changing these during the playing, which is what I'm going to do with this. I'll demo that when we do it here. And or just use an extra track. We have 5 tracks, and then the 6th one that's marked A will record an accompaniment, which internally there's 4 or 5 tracks for it, because the accompaniments built with this thing will use all those tracks, not all by using the A as the record. But some songs, in this case, I don't know if there's an accompaniment that's appropriate for this song. And I wanted to learn doing the layer recording anyway. So that's kind of the story behind that. So I wanted to mention you cannot record split keyboards. So we're going to continue on looking. Oh, dual voice. Let me see. Well, here we're at main. Main volume 90. I'm going to take it up to 115. Okay. Now, I also have the dual volume to set. And I think it's just right up. I'll just hit the right thing a few times. Dual. There it is. And actually on the dual volume, I'm going to drop the volume down to 108. It's louder, but not as loud. The strings can get overbearing, so I'm going to 108 with that. And exit. Woo. Okay, so I think I'm ready to try to start recording to my first track. So get this camera set up, and I'll end up letting you see some of the first of the recording. I'll cut out all this stuff in the middle. You don't want to sit through listening to 4 minutes of a song. And then I will also have in there how when I get to the point I want louder, I'm going to end up, oh, I'm glad I'm even telling you this because I haven't done it yet. So now that I've got all the stuff set up for louder for that part of the song, I need to save it to my second memory bank. So I hold down the bank button, push 2, and there it goes. So now when I'm playing the lower volume, I'll use 1. I'm playing the larger volume, I'll use 2. Seeing here, you don't see any difference, although I do notice harmony's not on. So there, now if I go here, harmony's on. Here, it's not. So I've got to turn harmony on. Now I got to save it again. Hold down the bank button and number 2. Bank first, hold 2, and that's it. Now as I go between 1 and 2, harmony's on both of them. So we're all set up for the first recording.